Islam. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. And but for those who are on the phone, you might not be able to see. Just follow. You're not going to be able to see it, but that's all right. It's being recorded. Inshallah, I'll just upload it later. Um, just follow my voice. Inshallah, we need. I like that one better. So this is why I hate my screen. I can't see nothing. Good, crazy. All right, I'll do this. But we're dealing with the chapter 45, Divine Origins of Asiatic Nation. Okay. And we'll probably have to explore this again some later down, the line. But for the most part, this is something that's very important for what we're going to be doing in the future. We want to get it right to make sure we're good in good standing with ourselves and our understanding. So, Divine Origins of the Asiatic Nations. As you can see, we got chapter 45. I will read chapter 45. Chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate and to know their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Koran of Mecca for the teaching and instructing of all Moorish Americans, etc. So this is very key because he puts this in the introduction in the beginning of this chapter. So the divine origin said the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, to know their higher self and their lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Koran of Mecca for the teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. All right, so they say Moorish Americans, etc. etc. also, is etc. So that means alike or so on alike within the same nature, so on, so on, so on. It means there's an extension that's not mentioned and is alluding to more than what has been said. Okay. So we look at that, that means that he's appealing to not only just those who are Moorish Americans, but also those who fit the bill of the Asiatic nation. Okay. The Asiatic nation of North America. Okay. Now we know what a nation is. Sometimes a nation not necessarily is something with a political, might not have a political structure, but at the same time, you're recognized as a group. You're recognized as a people, a nation. So the nation, or this Asiatic nation that's in North America, is readily or steadily, or not sorry, or is actually being kind of defined or brought into an understanding of specifically what is being applied. So here in the verse 1, right, it says the fallen sons and daughters. First of all, you have a state, a condition. What condition are they in? They're in a fallen condition. That means they were at one point and it got to another point. They were at an elevated level and now they've fallen. That means now they're no longer at an elevated level, right? They need to learn to love instead of hate and to know their higher self and lower self. So you need to know your lower self and your higher self. You need to know what state you were in, and you need to know your current state. You fallen. Why did you fall? Because of your lower self. Now your lower self, you're in a state where your lower self is prominent and is strong. So you got to understand what makes it strong. You got to understand what nature is that. And then you got to understand the higher self, because definitely you need to, that's the place where we need to ride. That's the state of being where we need to get to. Islam. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. We're teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. Said the Holy Quran of Mecca. Holy Quran of Mecca. Not the Holy Quran of Moorish Scientific America. Uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. Let's look at what uniting is. Let's go into, if I were to say uniting. All right. Google. Oh, I don't even need to go. What am I doing? Uniting. Islam. Consolidating. Growing together. Right? Participle, present, tense, joining, causing to agree, consolidate, growing together. Causing to agree. This is where, so if he says this is the uniting, know the higher self and the lower self, this is where we agree with the Holy Quran of Mecca. The uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. So to bring forth the understanding of what it teaches, because remember, this particular text was foreign to our people here in America still. All we knew was the Bible. So when the prophet was introducing the Quran, he was introducing the principle of knowing how to balance, or knowing the higher self and the lower self, to bring the lower self into subjection, to keep the lower self at bay. The things that you find in the Quran, which was introduced to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was or has the principles in those lessons to help keep the flesh or the lower self at bay. So let's go into thing. All right, cool. So very specific why that particular verse is introduced. You know, a lot of times you have to understand why is he saying that? Then he jumps into this. You know, it's a connection. So let's go into the second verse. Second verse says, the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who are who were ancient Moabites. Act 6. Last sentence, the Moorish Americans are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabit the northwestern, southwestern shores of Africa. Right? So the prophet reiterates it here in verse 2. He establishes the fact that the Moorish Americans are part of this Asiatic nations. Man, he says plural. Remember, the title is plural. It's not one nation's nations. He addresses the one nation here in North America, but then verse 2, he begins to break down all the nations and what they comprise of, parts of. The Moorish, who are the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. Founders of the holy city. There is, and I haven't got a chance to really bring that to light, but there is actual study from particular scholars that point to the idea that Jordan or Petra, which is found in Jordan, was the first place of pilgrimage instead of Bethel. And those who know about the Moabites, the Jordan River and that Jordan region was basically the place where they inhabited. So they're saying the earliest uh, destination of the pilgrimage was to Jordan and to Petra. You know, when you take it outside the conventional um, teachings of orthodoxy, scholarship of Islam, you begin to see that the prophet was reaching out of the bounds of what most would consider, you know, almost on a level of, heresy. Like, what are you talking? You know what I'm saying? You know, so the prophet was speaking on, you know, knowledge that was actually on the verge of being ignored and shoved to the side, you know, as Islam began to take its shape for the modern era, you know. My brother Ibrahim Bey had spoke to me one time in the building. He was telling me that majority of the Islam, Northwest Africa, Northern Africa, majority of them were Shiite at one time. Shiite was the dominant set or dominant expression of Islam at the time, at one time. And I didn't know that, but it was interesting, because now it's Sunni. The majority of Africa in the northern area, and in the west are Sunni in the base. You still have some Shiite portions of Shiite, but majority of them are Sunni. But that's why some people, some of them who appear to be more Sunni, but they still have a reverence for Ali, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it'll be like, okay, that's all right. Well, he's, of course, Abu Bakr, they believe he was given the session or something in the Sunnah, but still, there's a high reverence for Ali. a higher river, so Ali in those areas. So that's very interesting. But needless to say, when you speak of the Moabites, and even within the text of Egyptian Romany by Mustafa Gabal, Mustafa Go, yes, Mustafa Gabal, no, Mustafa Gabala. Mustafa Gabala mentions in that book that the original, or I could say the original, but the actual Koran was revealed in a tongue that was spoken by the Moabites, or the Budar language, right? He mentions that the Mudar language was revealed in the Mudar language. Now, here's a person who probably never stepped foot in a more science simple America, but in his book, he references the Mudar language, which is a tongue of the Moabites. So it kind of gets you thinking about, the prophet was on to something. He was on to something. So let me finish the chapter real quick, and then we'll just go into certain portions. Verse 3. The Egyptians, who were the Hamathites and the direct descendants of Mizraim, the Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese, and Chinese. The Hindus, India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, the Hittites, and Moabites, and the land of Canaan. Right? That's us again. The Asiatic nations in North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans, and the Mexicans in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, natives of San Salvador in Central America, etc. That means more. So they ain't said, oh, it's just that these. No, etc means more. It's just not mentioned. All these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad the First, the founding of the uniting of Islam by the command of the great universal God. I have some keys. We'll look at questionnaire. Look at the questionnaire. Let's expand my. Oops. Expand. Or so. This thing. Let's get into these keys. P57. Who are Adam and Eve? They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, the Asiatic and Muslim. That's key point, right? They're the mothers and fathers of human family, Asiatic and Muslim. You notice that they said the human family. Excuse me. They're Asiatic and Muslim. Well, do we equate Muslim with a race or ethnicity? Or is it Muslim in the sense of someone's nature? Because because you have a physical form and that appears to be human, doesn't mean you're human or you're acting on a level as a human. Because I right now only have the keys from 57 to 63. But you go further, 64, give names to give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve: Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. In 64, I believe we read it incorrectly in some way. We say give names, give 5 names, give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve: Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Well, wait a minute. In 57, right? Or they'll say, you know, the who are the children. Oh, hold on, y'all. I got you in a minute. Hold on, I got you. They're the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and mothers, right? To get 5 names, right? So these are names, nomenclatures that may be placed on a descendant of Adam and Eve. So you could fit these particular names in your nature or how you behave, which could separate you from the fold of the human family. Because a beast is not a human, right? A dragon's not a human. These are not humans, right? Islam. So these names can be given to you as titles. And if anybody got into I mean, I ain't gonna front. I know y'all probably y'all visit those 102s, you know. So I ain't gonna let's not front. Y'all been in them, I know some of y'all dialed into them 102s, you know. You seen them. So you know what you know what they said about a Negro? The Negro's a beast. Remember our module, right? Henry Berry reduced him to the level of the beast in the field. Uh-huh. Oh, brother, yeah, you got a question or portion, understand?
Islam. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I rise myself to my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to our Father God Allah, and all honors to all the divine prophets, especially our prophet in these days and times, Prophet Abu Ali. All right. Something I realized a little while ago, but I never asked a question. So I wanted to know what your take was on this. On this particular chapter, chapter 45, right? The
Mm-hmm.
divine origin of the Asiatic nations. Something that sticks out about the people that he's speaking about, that he doesn't particularly give you the descent of all of the people in this particular chapter out plainly, as in the ancient name of the people. For example, he gives a descent of the Moorish, which is the Moabites, the ancient Moabites, right? And he gives you a list of everybody else that you named, like the Egyptians, the Arabians, the
Mm-hmm.
Turks. But when it comes to the Asiatics that are from North, South, and Central America, he does not give those descent lines of those other nations. Do you have a measure on that? Islamism.
Islam. Um, what the prophet was using to describe them, you know, he had to use the modern um, terminology in a sense to describe where they are located or what they will be known as now. You know, all these are Muslims. Okay. There's an article called Latin America is Moorish America because of the influences of the Moors inside, in South America, or South America is Moorish America. So this particular article was old, but it describes the existence of Moorish influence within even in the people being related, or have some connection to, uh, the Moorish civilization or Moorish existence. So even in certain practices, even like Islam and stuff is coming or is returning to Latin America in a strong way, or South America in a strong way. So we have, I believe the prophet, he wasn't using a particular method of describing them as far as using or saying Asiatic. He was saying Muslim for the most part because that's how most likely they come back into the fold, in the sense is through, their willingness and obedience to Allah, and also through, just their connection from time where Islam had actually uh, visited those areas, and these people kept a lot of their customs and in themselves as they stood or basically maintain a particular nature that's obedient and that's at peace with their surroundings and stuff. So I believe the prophet, he used that, on that level, um, to prove that these people were still human. Also as well, like I said, I'm trying to, as I try to bring connection to Muslim, you know, the nature of a Muslim brings you back into the human fold, in a sense, you know. Um, so, we know from, like, open studies and stuff like that, that who lived in South America, you know, in those areas prior to European invasion. You could look at the Mayan walls and their temples. You can see who lived there. You could look at evidence, and like I said, that article. Um, uh, somebody has a portion. Hold on. Yeah, Spanish and Portuguese. Yeah, yeah. It's usually through the migration of Spanish and Portuguese into those areas is the reason why you have the uh, the existence of or Islamic or Moorish. But also prior to that, you had the existence of a Moorish. You know, so That has to be taken into consideration. You know, so because the navigation of Moors navigating from Africa and from Europe, prior to exploration of European. That's how the Europeans found out. Was through basically knowing that the Moors are actually traveling back and forth to those areas. Let's see if I can get on. Let me stop this real quick. Wouldn't it be more so on the importation of prisoners of war by the Spanish and Portuguese? Hmm, I see what you're saying, and I actually got something to answer that. I'll touch on that in a little bit. Thank you though for that input, brother Ibrahim. So let's go into oops, Asiatic. Now, Asiatic, for the most part, and I actually have another presentation I found by, I believe it's by Brewington Bay, and I gotta ask them when they did this, and saying like I don't know when or where they did this. But when I know it had to be in the last few years. It was after the fact that we did it. So I know that, because I saw contributors. So for the most part, um, the Asiatic is now considered Afro-Asiatics is based on language in a sense. It confines to the connection is through the language. Afro-Asiatic, as you can see, is the Libyo-Chadic, Egypto-Semitic, Cushitic, Northern Cushitic, Egyptian Semitic, Berber, Chadic, Taja, Hausa, Coptic, Hebrew. Hebrew. Yeah, so all these things, these branches, all for the Afro-Asiatic, are connected. Egypto's Semitic, uh, you know, Northern Cushitic, they all, whatever, basically these languages that traverse across North Africa and Western Africa, those type of things, those type of areas, they all have this Cushitic, or not Cushitic, but Afro-Asiatic languages, which connect them to uh, uh, the Arabian area, Arabian Peninsula, and so forth, the Holy Lands. Okay. So they carry a derivative of each other. They all related in language. You get sub tribes like Hausa and so forth. They have these particular connections. And basically, these are areas where supposedly our ancestors came from, according to the prophet, according to also uh, popular popular academia. If you will follow them, they even within their uh, records of how they dictate history and the connection. We descend from these areas because all throughout these areas there was migrations and intermingling and reformation of different nations and groups. Here's a kind of like a photo projection or painting. Now I think this here was thrown in. Somebody threw that in. I don't look like, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying it's just don't match. You know, this looks very awkward. Like somebody actually added that. But as you can see, the many different shades of what they call the Asiatic. So I Google Asiatic races, and you'll see it. Of course, they have the Asians, the Mongols, but they came from a different area and populated into Asia. Whereas Asia at one time was more so those races from who are now found in the southern regions of Asia. But they were the ones who populated most of Asia. I actually found out there's a video of a sister from Sri Lanka, and she's talking about what's going on in Palestine, and she said that the method that Israel is using is the same method that was used on her people, the Tamil. All right. You know, when you get chances, let's Google what Tamil is. So we know what the Tamil is. That's how we like, oh, you know, the Tamil people. I like to go to images. I'm an image guy. So this is the Tamil of Sri Lanka. But the sister was saying that the same act of genocide or ethnic cleansing was the same thing that was put on her people, the Tamil. These are the Tamil. See these beautiful melanated people? You know, you got some that look just like, you know, it could be family. And some of y'all got relatives that look like this. You know, this dark, lips full, you know, this brother here. That's why I love, appreciate Dr. Ranoko Rashidi, because he went to these places. He sat with these people, you know, and tell you the truth, a lot of them, when they meet us, it's open arms. They know we exist, and they just want us to hear them and connect. Like you get treated like with bad love when you go to these places, like you know Sri Lanka, and when you go to like this the Pacific Islands with the Polynesians and Fijian, people from Fiji, you know, they open arms like, oh, like you're a you're a long lost cousin or something. You know, that's why, you know, I kind of don't understand, you know, you know, we have so much to choose from within our own, you know, our own people, you know. You know, people want their passport bros. Like, you need a passport bro to a place where your people are at. You know, you don't always got to go to different places, but find your people. You know, you're gonna go to the Dominican Republic, go find the ones that they don't show on the cameras. And I'm not, because all of DR is our people technically, despite their propaganda and stuff, but still, make a better effort to connect with our own, not our own, but the ones that are forgotten. that are looked down upon. Yeah, so the sister said they're using the same tactics where they moved all the people from one area, and they said we're going to move you to this safe space. It's a safe space. You won't get harmed here. Come here, everybody get here. And then later they was like, yo, we got to move y'all away because we're going to bomb this area. He said that happened to her people. And the same is happening to the Palestinians, where they move all the Palestinians out of Gaza into this one small region where it only could fit 250,000 people. Now they got over 1.5 million people trying to put them all in that one area with tents. You know, that's why when our people are like, oh well, but like Kanye talk about, I don't know too much about the situation. Da da da. I was like, man, you screaming that you're a Jew, you're denying Palestinians. A lot of them are the original Hebrews, original Jews. They just converted to Islam during the Ottoman occupation. You know, they just converted, but ethnically they're still connected to the Jew or Hebrew. You know, you have melanated Asiatic people that live in Palestine that they don't talk about. As I tell people, follow the young lady, the young sister, Lama Jamis 9 on Instagram. This young sister, she's only 9 years old, and she has a little mic, and she goes in there and she talks. And I think her dad films her, or whoever films her, and she interviews the people in Palestine on what's going on. And I was like, man, may Allah please protect her, keep her safe, man, because the way they're doing other people there is crazy. You know what I mean, that's my little spill. But you can see in Latin America, and African descent, those who are African descent in the population. I got this chart here, and I'm kind of all over the place with this, so don't hurt me. Let me see. Nope, that's not what I want. Parcel. I don't know why I have. All right, cool. This is the Muslim. I found this today. Today. Wow, I found this today. And I was doing some research for tonight, and this came across my search. This was beautiful, and I'm gonna continue to read. But this is a review of the books, so it's like a summary, right? Islam. The book review essays. This one's called Muslims, Moriscos, and Arabic-speaking migrants in the New World. Okay, this is by Thiago Henrique Mata, Federal University of Lacosa. All right. And then they got a whole this essay reviews the following works between the Middle East and the Americas. I actually got the paper here. I printed it out. So that's what I'm reading now. So you don't see that on the screen. The cultural politics of the diaspora, forbidden passages, Muslims and Moriscos in colonial Spanish America, uh, more Argentine than you, Arabic speaking immigrants in Argentina, Islam in the Americas, uh, crescent over another horizon, Islam in the Latin America, Caribbean, and Latino USA, Mexican and Magyar the Mexican Madre, transnational Maronites, Jews, Arabs under the French mandate, Syrian, Lebanese, uh, Patricios, and Sao Paulo, from Levant to Brazil. All right. I'm surprised they ain't talking about the Bahia community um, that's down there. Uh, but this particular is very interesting, and I know we're this also can help um, bring in our brothers and sisters from Latin America. And this is saying that the prophet encouraged Moors to learn Spanish, and this is the reason probably why is to help us reach our brothers and sisters in Latin America. And it's reported that the prophet, of course, went to Cuba and he was in Mexico supposedly, and he handed out nationality cards. You know, so it's definitely a connection um, with Moorish existence and our brothers and sisters being connected who live down in South America. So, but we want to stretch it. Let's see. I skipped and I went to the essay. That's what I got up here. Muslims and Moriscos in Spanish colonial empire. And I only copied the first paragraph because I think the first paragraph hit pretty good. Okay. And this is the one who wrote it. Carolyn Cook's proposal is analyzing the Morisco presence in Spanish Empire is groundbreaking. Book is called Forbidden Passages, analyzes Castilian policies concerning Muslims in both Europe and America. Close attention is devoted to the process by which these Moriscos and even Muslims from even Muslims from North and West Africa, forbidden to cross the Atlantic to the New World, intruded into Spanish American colonial life as captive, free, or freed men and women. Okay. The author is keen to note distinctions within the Spanish Morisco community, their different levels of involvement in the Castilian politics and the Iberian Islamic rebellions. There was rebellions on the Iberia and Andalusia because they were under Spanish occupation with the uh, uh basically dealing with the Spanish Inquisition. Right? So, and how these particularities influenced the constitution of the Spanish American Morisco community itself. Okay, when they mean constitution, they mean basically what constituted as Morisco, that community. The book's central point, however, concerns the way anxieties were created within the Spanish Empire through the immigration of Moriscos to America, to the Americas, and their incorporation into local elites. In light of this, denunciations of religious offenses at the Holy Office to harass political opponents and efforts to construct genealogical narratives claiming Christian ancestry were on the agenda of internal disputes of the Hispanic American League. So when they say Christian descent, they really mean pale skinned European descent. That was the term, you know. That's what they use to distinguish. And they didn't necessarily say white at the time. White wasn't necessarily a distinct name or what you would call someone. At that time, they would use, they would say Christian, or he was of the Muslim races or Muslim. I guess, and that could be a reason why the prophet used Muslim, because if you're of the Muslim race, that means you're within the confines of what would be considered Muslim. Because they used Muslim as also a distinguish of ethnicity, because it was such a widely practiced religion, you know, um, that it overshadowed Christianity. Christianity wasn't a widely practiced religion. You know, when Islam came on the scene, it outgrew Christianity so fast. The areas where they were supposed to be Christians, Christianity was overtaken by Islam, and many of them converted to Islam. But here in America, in what he's describing here in these books and these writings, you know, the Morisco or the Moriscos or whatever, the Moors or these Muslims or whatever, they've migrated from Europe into the Americas, and many of them were in captive, many of them were free, many of them were involved also in the political landscape. I think there was a fear of them coming over because they were afraid that they could rebel against the authority in America, and Spanish didn't have enough enforcement at that time. Okay. Um, so that's a possibility. It's not. Let's see what time it is. Let's go back to the questionnaire. I want to touch on that real quick. To the questionnaire. Okay. 58. Where did they go? They went to Asia. What is the modern name given to the children? Asiatic. All right. It's the modern name given to the children. Asiatics. Then it says, who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers out of the way? Away. Angels. What is the modern name for those angels? Asiatics. So who went into Asia? So where did they go? Asia. What is the modern name for their descent, their children? Asiatics. Those who regarded the holy city of Mecca, angels. Their modern name, Asiatics. So you're taking the term angel, and what is an angel? When you look at the term, it said was a thought of Allah manifest in human flesh. The prophet, when he begins to speak on angel, he's beginning to denote, oh, Shakamel. Oh, I didn't see you raise your hand. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead. Pardon, sir. Go ahead,
Islam,
show. Islam.
Islam. I rise and give praise to Allah, great God of the universe. I give honors to the Prophet, and I give all honors to everyone here today in this holy day, and I give honors to all whom honors due. I'm kind of stuck on basically what we're touching on. There seem to be two particular parts that it hasn't been resolved for me yet. First one is the who were Adam and Eve? That's 57.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatic and Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
But then you touched upon briefly 64. Give 5
Mhm.
names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve: Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the word in 64 is descendants. And I'm just trying to um, figure out, is the word descendant different from, in contrast to 57, when it says Adam and Eve, they are the mothers and fathers of the human family. So being the mothers and fathers of the human family, I'm assuming, and I stand to be corrected, that descendants is something that descended from that human family. I'm not certain, because is it some people would think that um, the human family are the descendants. So it's this.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Your last part, what you just said, the human family are the descendants. Um, if we go to 64, they said give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Right? Says so I could be a descendant, but if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm following my lower self, I'm acting out of nature. And I could bear a title, a different name. Because the true descendants really are angels. We're all angels. Our true nature, the higher self, brings us to a level of an angel. Angel is
Islam.
not a winged person or whatever like that. If you really believe in that, if you look into the esoteric lessons of what angels are just really high level beings.
Islam.
So when hold on, when you're not in that nature, or Muslim, your name, remember, your name is your nature. Your name describes your nature. And so if you're in the nature, basically, of something else that's of the lower self or low vibration, then you can bear any one of these. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. All right. And then here's one thing you also got to look at. This is the 101, right? There's another set called the 102s. And so sometimes this is when Bailey Hill was asked about the 102s, he said that the 102s was first. And we got proof of that. There is a Moorish guy. Oh, sorry. Was that Pacola? I'm sorry, sis. I didn't see you waiting. Um, there's Moorish guide article of the 102s in there. What proves is that the prophet had the 102s first. Bailey, according to Bailey Hill, is that he created the 101s to dumb it down. Not dumb it down, but kind of take the edge off because it was straightforward. It was telling you about the Romans. It was telling you who really got kicked out of the city and where they went. You know, they told you what a Negro really was.
Islam.
He told you, of course, we say Negro, you give it to a river in Africa because it contained black water, or give it to a river by the Moors because it contained black water. Okay, yeah, that's true. But if you look at them 102s, tell you what a Negro is. And then you go back to 64, right? It's a name that was given to you. Descendant of Adam and Eve. The Negro is a beast. So that's a name that was given to you. Give
Islam.
5 names that are given to the descendants. Adam and Eve. 5 names were given to the descendants. Why? Because they weren't in a line with what they were supposed to do. So technically, it was Asiatics, you know what I'm saying, who fell. Remember the fallen sons and daughters, right?
Islam.
Zan, go ahead, brother. Sure. Good.
So is it fair to say that the 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve, Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast, is just really referring to the lower self,
Yes.
the part of the self that's descended, that's going down.
Yes.
I
This is
see.
a scale. Look at it. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Lucifer is the light bearer. You still have light when you're at this level. Satan is a deceiver. You're in deception. Devil, someone devalues. You devalue. The dragon, right? There's still some light there, but you're more, of aggressive, controlling, empowered, type of person.
Destructive.
And then beast, you have no self-control. You can be controlled at this part, this level. This level, someone can control you and make you do what they want at this level. Because you're fully on impulse. You get to this level, you can develop neurological issues, and your children could be born into this state. You can pass on a lot of stuff to your children in this state, So the lower self brings you to this level. That's why I say keep your passions in the bounds of righteousness. You put your limitations on it. You're always going to have passions while being in this physical form. There's nothing wrong with having passions. With those, particular desires and stuff like that. That's going to come, but you can't react on it at impulse. You have to compartmentalize those things, put those things in a proper use. When it's time for this, then it's time to do this. When it's time for that, it's time to do this. You know what I'm saying? And have the boundaries of righteousness. Know that, okay, if I do this, is it going to hurt this person? Or is it going to hurt that person? Shorty giving you a lot of vibes, whatever. She telling you come over, but she got kids. I'm gonna put the kids to bed. Like, nah. You know, that should be a turn off. I'm not coming over. You got kids. I'm not coming over there. You know, that's not what I'm. You know, it should be a turn off. You know, not saying you don't want. You know, you don't like children, but you don't want to do anything that will devalue the mom or somebody, whomever, in the eyes of their children. You know, or if you got children, you arguing with your significant other, and there's something to you, or you just get so frustrated, you want to come out the mouth and say something. Okay, yeah, it feels good because you're getting back, you're in the heat of the moment of the argument, but the child's hearing all that. Which adult is going to step up and say, okay, let's not talk about this right now because we're going to get into an argument. Let's talk about it later, away from the children's attention, you know, or who's going to, you know, if it does get real heated, who walks out the door before something actually happens and say, all right, let me take a break. I'm going to go for a walk, you know, keeping your passions and checking on your, you know, your habits. Okay, am I doing this too much? Eating. I ate a decent meal a few hours ago. Do I really need to eat another? Can I just hold out for a minute? You know, this is the, you know what I'm saying? These are things you use. These are practical stuff. They're practical, you know. So uh, Brother Yeshua, did I answer the question or did I go past it?
It pretty much.
Huh?
Um, I mean, it's profound because it is not explicit, you know, on this face. It's like it's much deeper in terms of you, like you said, it's a scale,
Yeah, it's a scale.
and someone reading it for the first time wouldn't pick that up.
Nah, that's why you got to continue to go over these things. Mo, let me tell you something. One of the elder, Moreland L, and I got to call him because he got a lot of wisdom. Moreland L just said, man, he said, each verse in the Koran, you know, and I think it even applies to the question there. It unfolds 7 times. Like you only get different meanings. The way the prophet wrote, he wrote on a way where these questions unfold with different levels of meaning and study. But you got to study them and pull them all together. You know how long it took me to understand question 101? Like when I first read it, I'm like, man, it's crazy. It is not 7 days in no doggone year. Everybody know is is 300 and 365 days. So I'm thinking I'm adding 3 and 5 6. I'm trying to break down numerology. And it's oh man, 3 5. Let's see, okay. 9, 3 and the 6 is 9, and the 5 is 4. So it's 14. And if you divide 14 by 2, oh, it's 7. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Thinking like, yeah, okay, yeah. Cause you know, you gotta add it up. And then you gotta break it down by 2. You know what I'm saying? You know. Hey, okay. In numerology or whatever, you can't even you shouldn't even do that because every number you supposed to break it down to the simplest number. When you add the numbers up, you supposed to break it down to the simplest number. Right? Islam. Now, the 101, question 101 is simple. It's so simple, but he said according to science. So it makes you think. 7 days in a year. So you gotta really pause and think like, okay, name all the days that exist or that we know. Just name the days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is there any days outside that 7? So how many days are in a year? It's really just 7. And it just repeats itself.
Islam.
It's on.
It's like Saturday, which was the day I was born on, would
Right.
represent Saturn.
Right. But keep it even simpler than that. You have 7 days. That's all we have. And within the 7 days, it repeats itself. That's why they say how many days are in the circle. Let's go to Webster's 14. Let's type in circle. I can't read that right now because I can't see it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, read it real quick.
Circle, noun. Number 1, in geometry, a plane figure comprehended by a single curved line, called its circumference, every part of which is equally distant from a point called the center. Of course, all lines are drawn from the center to the circumference or periphery are equal to each other. That's 1. Number 2, it says, in popular use, the line that comprehends the figure, the plane or surface comprehended, whole body or solid matter of a round substance or denominated a circle, a ring, an orb, the earth. And 3 is compass, circuit, as the circle of the forest. And then 4 is an assembly surrounding the principal person, hence any company or assembly as a circle of friends. You kind of moving it up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me go back up.
Mm-hmm. That's good. We already passed. I already read 3.
Okay.
4, yeah.
Go down.
How far do you want me to read down?
Could you read the rest? Like 5? All the way through?
Okay, 5. Yeah, sure. At 5, a series ending where it begins and perpetually repeated, a going round. Thus, in a circle runs the peasant plain. It's a circumlocation, indirect form of words. 7, in logic, an inconclusive form of argument when the same terms are proved in orbum by the same terms, and the parts of the syllogism alternatively by each other directly and indirectly, or when the foregoing proposition is proved by the following, and the following is inferred from the foregoing, as that heavy bodies descend by gravity, and that gravity is a quality by which a heavy body descends. There goes the word descend as in descendant. 8 is circle of the sphere are such as cut the mundane sphere and have their periphery either on its movable surface as the meridians or in another immovable conterminous and equidistant surface as the ecliptic equator and its parallels. 9, a circle of circle of alt. Let me moving that up. A circle of altitude or al. See, this is a word I'm not familiar with. Almucantars are circle parallel to the horizon, having their common pole in the zenith and diminishing as they approach the zenith. It's a lot. Yeah, it kind of goes into a lot of other different things.
Mm-hmm. But check this out.
Mm-hmm.
The very last one.
Circle, verb, intransitive, to move circularly, as the bowl circles, the circling years.
So circle, but one word that comes up in a lot of these definitions is perpetual. So the 7 days are perpetual. Within the year. So the prophet was introducing us to a 7-cycle measurement in those last questions of the questionnaire.
So Islam. So the holy. So when you look at the Holy Quran of the Moorish Scientific America, here you have a circle 7.
Starting to think. Starting to think, man. Yeah, man, that circle 7 ain't just there for looking pretty.
It says divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jawali.
Yeah, that circle 7, that 7 and those 4 quadrants ain't there to look pretty. You know, there's a base meaning, there's a definitely meaning to those, to that symbol. Makes a good tattoo, but it does a lot more than that. Put it on a t-shirt, but it has a lot more understanding to that. Okay. Let me try to wrap it up. We had what, 10:30? I'm gonna move on. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but yeah, sure. Thank you for participation, brother. I appreciate it.
I think last week we went past 12.
Did we? Oh man, I think sure wants us to go past 12.
No, not today. I gotta go to work.
Yeah, that's what I got a question. It was Irene. Yeah. Yeah, he wants us to go past 12. Yeah, what did I say? Asians? What's the modern name of Asiatics? What is that shade of the skin? Olive. Are Moorish Americans any relation to these angels? Yes, we all have the same father and mother. And just go back to the other questions. Adam and Eve. Right? The same mother and father. Adam and Eve. Moorish Americans have the same mother and father as the angels. But we're descendants. We're Asiatics. That's what you're calling us now. The pure nature of who we are, angels. Now you get it, you be like, okay, wait a minute. Who's the prophet to us? He's an angel sent from Allah. What is our? He said we're supposed to send messages. We're supposed to warn nations. We're supposed to send a message to to all 4 corners of the world, right? So we established the first religion. So if we established the first religion, then we had to go all out to the 4 corners of the world with a message. So being Asiatic is not just, okay, yeah, I'm Asiatic, I'm melanated, I'm the first, No, you have an actual duty still to humanity to carry this message. What does Acts 6 say? And we're teaching our people their nationality and divine creed. So Asiatics in North America, or just the Moorish Americans, at least our job is to get this message out to the other Asiatic population. They don't even have to become Moorish American, but you teach them about their nationality. You teach them about the principle of nationality, so they could take upon themselves to ignite their nationality. Some of them already got nationality. They just come to America and they lose it, and they give up their principles to amalgamate into the American society. We're active in America. Moorish Americans, we're active. We're part of America. We're Americans. But we don't assimilate into the or what they would consider the generic. We don't assimilate into the generic uh, uh, citizen behavior or citizen nature or the generic nature of what the citizen of America is. We don't assimilate into that. We're supposed to be different. Are we related to African Americans? Yeah, those are our peoples. They choose to go by somewhere else, but we gotta make sure that we don't assimilate into what they do or what our brothers and sisters do as African Americans. It's hard because we come from already being assimilated into that, already been nurtured, brought into that nature. And to separate ourselves. That's why we look weird. We come up with these fez with a fez on the head or a turban. Like, why are you wearing a turban? Nick Cannon, man, he was on this search. He still wears his turban. I seen the new joint where him. He was talking about who was talking? Somebody. He was talking to Ayanla, Ayanla, the 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 therapist, Ayanla. He was talking to her, and he had a turban on, a lot better than what he used to have. A lot better than what he used to have. But speaking of turbans, I got the Halo turbans for sale. I got like what I got. I got what colors I got. I got one blue left. I got two reds, two whites, and two greens. They go for $20. Anybody want them? I ain't even drop that little plug. But they're quick on the go joints, man. If you want to wear a turban, you necessarily don't want to take the time to tie it. All you got to do is just put it on, and you just twist the strap over your head like a figure eight, and then you're ready to go. You can wear it anywhere you go, you know. But you know, Nick Cannon, he had the turban on. You know, I remember when he first started wearing it, people started with thinking he was weird. Like, why are you wearing that? Why are you wearing? Then all these different people, celebrities, now are wearing turbans. You know what I'm saying? I started wearing it. I was wearing my turban at the job all the time. Come up if it wasn't the sink, brothers, it was me rocking my turban. Oh, why you wearing a turban? Nah, 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 and tell them, hey man, I'm Moorish American. That's part of my
Islam.
religion, part of my culture. Islam.
Where can you get a turban? Where can you buy one? Through the temple or
We don't have simple. We got to get. I'll be honest, man. We got to get better with what we provide, and we just need more people to take that helm. You know what I'm saying? We need more people who got, because you know, like I said, I always say it, man. You know, Supreme Grand Sheik and a lot of us are not, you know, we're new. We don't have like 20 years, and when I born, we didn't grow up in the temple, so we don't even, have. I know, I would go to Brother Sultan Holiday Bay. He has nice fabric for the turbans. I like the jersey stretch turban. And it's just a cloth for you to, it stretches and it's good for tying your turban or wrapping your turban and tying it. So I don't know anyone else besides him. Probably Brother Ross,
How
Ross Davis Davis Ross.
about the compound teas and oils? I haven't. I reached out and it's like everything just went dark.
Uh,
in that.
you couldn't get in contact. You couldn't get in contact with him, right?
Yeah, I think you was gonna try to see what you could do. I haven't heard anything. Haven't heard
Yeah,
gotten
I actually I tried a while ago. I asked Patah El, and Patah El, he usually was good keep in contact with McElroy Bay, but he hasn't heard from him. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send the Moors out um, to him. The Moors I know in Chicago, and I'm gonna tell them to look into what's going on, see what's going on with him. Oh, y'all have your own conversation. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on with that, you know. But hopefully he's okay. Inshallah, I'll pray for him. What do we got? Okay, olive. Let's get back to the lesson. So we said the shade is olive. Now, in modern terms, olive would be uh, because they're like Jessica Alba, the actor Jessica Alba, will be considered olive. You know, Justin Bieber, what's his name? The guy who was arrested over in, I believe, Germany or whatever. Very controversial dude. He's considered olive. Yeah, he would be considered olive. Um, close one. Oops. Hope I didn't close the presentation. If I did, then oops. I might close that. There you go. I was like, oh, my bad. All right. So we can hear with olive. This is basically uh what olive, the different shades of olive is considered. Through makeup, you got the lightest, and the darkest of the dark. Um, so the prophet is giving us another scale to understand exactly from a surface level who we consider Asiatic, or confines of what is Asiatic. Because I can't just say it's just all dark brown individuals or darker to the darkest brown. Um, but
Islam.
we come in different shades. Like if you go into Ethiopia is a primary example. The country of Ethiopia, or what we know as Ethiopia today, is a primary example of what the vast skin tones, skin tone scheme is, because you'll get the lightest of the light Ethiopians, and then you got darkest of the dark Ethiopians that exist. But they're all different ethnic groups, but they're considered one unit uniform. In the Asiatic, you had different uh, uh, possible, or what you'll consider phenotypes, which will cause for different complexions. But in the totality, we're all the same. So you're going to get some lighter brothers and sisters in comparison. It's almost like, granted, he's not a member of the Moorish Scientific America or any particular group, but he has a full, grandiose understanding of who he is. And we're talking about Fat Joe. Fat Joe was like, yo, we're black. Well, he is using the term black, but we're the same race as anyone else. Now he probably, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans that don't agree, but there's a lot of who do. That'd be like, yo, it's no difference. It's a prime example of the different shades that constitute olive, because olive could be light and olive could be dark. You got black olives, then you got green olives, and you have lighter brown, lighter shade olives, you have red olives. You have different types of olives. Remember, I talked earlier in our discussion about the Trinidad, and those so-called Hindu brothers and sisters that actually went into Trinidad, who migrated into Trinidad and populated, and mixed in the population. So you got brothers and sisters that got this skin tone. And you're like, where they come from? And I always talk about the sister I work with at my job, Shawana. And Shawana, she had a Jamaican accent and everything. But I'm looking at Shawana. I was like, Shawana, where you from? And she said, I'm from Jamaica. I said, nah. I was like, you sure? She said, yeah, I'm from Jamaica. I said, I know you talking about. I said, because my family's from India. I said, huh? She said, yeah, my family's from India. I grew up in Jamaica. I have my daughter and my husband, that. And she'll talk about, yeah, I'm from India. I'm from India originally. My family's from India. Her family's from India, but she's pure Jamaican. Like, she got the accent. She can cook plantain, oxtail, all that. She throw that. She can cook up behind her. But her family's from India, but she do oxtail. She talk patois. You ain't tell her nothing. She Jamaican. Know what I mean? But she'll, for the most part, she give, she acknowledges her Hindu ancestry. You know what I mean? And but that's a prime example. Her skin tone. As you even go to India, you find different shades from the lighter to the darkness. And the prophet's saying within that spectrum, you know what I'm saying? That's who we identify within that spectrum, you know, of tone. It's the olive tone spectrum, you know. And anything else, that's why he distinctly says pale skin, European. He's distinct, you know. He doesn't include them in the olive. So you have different olive tones, that exist, that within the region, there's a spectrum in a sense. I can't read my screen. My kingdom for a screen. Yeah, sorry. Islam. Yeah, so we got this let me go back into demonstration. We got the so when we talk about Muslim, that's another thing we have to explore is that Muslim in comparison to angel, you know, because angel was at a time where we were at a height in our existence, and there had to be something that caused us to fall, you know, from that, you know. So it's an interesting. The prophet's information unfolds deeply because he uses specific words to grab and then when you begin to try to understand why he said that, then the information starts to unfold. So, um, but yeah, it's a little demonstration for this evening as I put together. I'm gonna probably add more to it, especially dealing with the angel portion. And he said his son name is Morocco. Nick Cannon named his son Morocco. Nick Cannon got so many kids. I don't even bother to know what they name. Let's be like this guy. He got so many kids. He just. But I'm happy for him though. I ain't mad. He doing what he's supposed to be doing. If he got money, he got bread. If he got the bread to have little children and have different women, do it. Got the money. The problem is you got a whole bunch of dusty brothers out here, trying to do the same thing, and they ain't got two pennies to rub together. It's just like, brother, handle one, please. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a discussion with a sister at my job. I was like, yeah, I support polygamy, but it ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? I support it, but it's not for me, and it's not for a lot of brothers that I know. Enemy, you know, a lot of times it's not. It's just because it got a wrong idea of what it is. It's not what you think it is. I don't support just the romanticized fantasy of it. It's just not, you know, if you can't maintain and take care of them, make sure they're good, don't do it. But Nick Cannon got businesses, he got residuals coming in from, movies, his time in Nickelodeon, uh, uh, Wild and Out joints. You know what I'm saying? He got other investments. He got bread. He got enough money to take care of the women and the children. He got enough. And he got, of course, his children. He got with Mariah. So he's straight. Um, but for the most part, my presentation, we understand is at least what Asiatic is, even in the spiritual part. That is it encompasses a connection. It's the modern version with an angel. You know, so by nature we're angels. You know, by nature we're angels. Especially we all have the same mother and father. By nature we're supposed to be angels. Let's say that we're supposed to be angels. We fell from that, but we're supposed to be angels. So, any questions? Well, cool. I'm gonna go into announcements. If we don't have no questions. And the aspect of this though, as I close, the aspect is interesting. Is this is what our campaign this legally can assist you. In the sense of identification. I had a situation with my landlord, and she was trying to evict me, uh, not for not payment of rent, as I was caught up in my rent, but damage to the property, which there was no damage. But she tried to claim, no, this damage due to excessive clutter, which is not excessive clutter. Excessive clutter really is when you can't um, access exits and so forth. They become a fire hazard. You've seen excess clutter. Like people have been in excess clutter spaces where there's like you gotta, walk around stuff and it's in the middle of the floor and all that. It ain't got none of that going on. It was just basically, you know, it's like my man said, just trying to get you out so they can raise the rent. Basically, that's what it is. Come up with an excuse, get you out, raise the rent. So I was stressed. This happened at the end of last year, like, like the September after convention. After I came home convention, I found a joint. They gave a notice to quit, which was they did it wrong. Was they're trying to build a case to notice to quit again, and I see what they're trying to do. But the lawyer that I was just when I got the complaint or the court or they filed a court complaint. Um, I was like, man, I don't know what to do. I ain't got no money for a lawyer. So they had services there where you can call South Jersey legal firm or legal services. So I called them. They're free. They get like some type of money to just go and help people. So I called and I went in. Uh, I basically went. Oh, I said, what did I do? Yeah, I called them and we discussed the situation. And they told me I needed to, because I said, okay, well, they'll represent me. I don't have to pay. I just had to fill out these forms. And they emailed me the forms. And I filled them out. The racial category I left open. Okay, I left open because I didn't know. And then they hit me up. They said, yo, Mr. Parker, I need to talk to you. Man, you left the racial port open. We need that for our records and also, stuff like that. When we get audited and all that, you know, we need you to fill that out. And I said, well, the issue is, I'm willing to put it down, but you don't have a category when I self-identify. And they said, oh, well, just put it in their email and we'll apply it or like that. And I identify as Asiatic Moorish. That's how I self-identify. And they accepted it. They accepted it. So, legally and basically I didn't have to pay. The services won't, I received the services. Lawyer basically whipped the landlord's lawyer in court. It was crazy. Like she was just chopping. I was like, wow, this lady is a machine. So basically, we have to enforce these things to be recognized. We got to, when you get a job or whatever, I don't identify as this. In 2020, we've collectively tried to get all the Moors on the same page to identify as Asiatic and Moorish, right? Moorish is our ethnic. Asiatic is the race. Asiatic is the race. So we pushed that idea, and lo and behold, Asiatic is already on the census. It's already there. You know what I'm saying? So was Moorish. All we had to do, oh no, Asiatic, not Moorish. Yeah, Moor. We put Moor for native, Asiatic, then Moorish. So all three are listed there. They just way they're connected to codes that are like pushed back in the list. And you just gotta like they're there. It's just that we're just highlighting. And majority of times that there's a rhythm going on, more people are listening to the same thing, that then they become more visible. You know what I'm saying? They become more visible. So, Asiatic is there, mainly is dealing with, and then last week, as I mentioned, Asiatic mainly dealt with the Southern Asian towards like the Holy Lands, Palestine, Arabia, Yemen, those areas. So Asiatic already existed. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, but it didn't apply to the Mongoloid groups. It didn't apply to the Mongoloid groups. Now it's like it's a flip. Like, oh, Asian and Asiatic is the same thing. No, it's not. It's not. Asiatic is different. It's a different term. Right. So it's our duty to, for ourselves and our progeny to continue to try to push our race to be properly recognized. The term you would use now would say Afro-Asiatic. You know, yeah, that's what scholars are using now. But I try not to use the Afro. I just say Asiatic. I don't say Afro-Asiatic. I may say Afro-Asiatic to appeal to academia, so they know what I'm talking about. But amongst amongst the community, I say Asiatic. Academia is I might use Afro-Asiatic because that's what they're using at the time, but it's still Asiatic. So we gotta appeal to um, not appeal to, but we have to continue to push our our identities. You know, granted, people speak about them, but they know how to play the identity game hard. They play it so hard, they push you in an identity. And they get mad with you don't accept the identity they gave you. They say, I'm this, and you're this. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, oh, no, I'm not that. I'm like, yes, you are. Like, I'm not no, whatever. Then it becomes argument. But they play it hard, man. They got their propaganda teams. They got their lawyers set up. They got everything. They push that hard, their agenda. They got more leeway than anybody within the past 10 years. And it's been quick, you know. They're in all discussions, especially in our community. They got this what's I don't even know. I had a double take because I didn't know what I was looking at. You know, I thought I was looking at how Vin Rames and Holiday Heart. Was the couple, actual couple, and I was like, wait a minute, is that actually a whatchamacallit? I had to look the person up, and then they were they just don't use the term, but they are technically by definition a transgender. But there's a couple. There's a couple. The guy is a biological male, but now they getting all this. They getting all this attention. Yeah, you know, but they're using it, and to the point where now it's an exception. It's being pushed and accepted now. It's normal. And they pushing it normal. They're pushing it to be a normality amongst us. More than anything, I don't see. I mean, I don't watch Telemundo or Univision. I don't watch none of this, So I don't know exactly if they have that type of programming or situation where there's transgenders and so forth, and they're being pushed in that community. They do have them, well populated in their community, but I don't know if they're out open in the television. Well, I know for doggone well it's not in the Middle Eastern programming, you know, and it's probably still not in the Asian programs, or whatever television shows and TV they have in India as well. So, but for us, it's so-called African Americans, it's open. So it has to be, but at the end of the day, you can't totally knock it because it's strategic. So what is it? They're consistent. We got to be consistent. So you are your Moorish American. First of all, sit, get it, you got to understand what these things are. What's your race? Asiatic. What's your nationality? Moorish American. Well, that's it. Run with it. Don't try to make it all, oh, Moorish means this and this. So we're more American or American Moors. Like, because people don't understand grammar. Don't use Moorish because Moorish ain't really a Moor. You're something like a Moor. You're not a real Moor. Somebody said something like that on the thread on YouTube. I kind of I was like, yeah, it's like the dumbest and most incorrect response you could ever say regarding Moorish. I was like, bro, go back to grammar school. And I didn't mean to be so sarcastic and rude, but it's like people don't think and they try to challenge you. And it's like, bro, that's not what it is. Moorish, yes, it is an adjective. It is an adjective, but it's also can be a noun. Okay. In context, when you add the Moorish to American and you say Moorish American, you are saying a proper noun. It is a title and a name. Moorish American is a title and a name. See, people look at Moorish American and they only see two words and they're like, these are two words. Yes. And what is constitute is two words, but together is actually one word. Moorish American is one word. It's a title. It's a name. Two words that make it one name. And anything that's a proper noun is, a name is a proper noun. A title, place, a thing, a person, a name. These are considered proper nouns. You got nouns, regular noun, you got proper nouns. Because I could say, this lady wearing a turban. Or then I could say, proper noun, the Moorish American is wearing a turban. That's proper noun. It's a title. a name or a title. So therefore, it can have more worship. That's the title of it. You know, it doesn't diminish the meaning of what. And it also, because it's Moorish, Moorish means deriving from. You know, we're Americans, but our descent nature derives from the Moorish bloodline. So we're Moorish Americans. You know, it's people trying to be Abdullah to live Mosley Bay 3.0, who ain't never took college courses, but they, you know, they watched a few YouTube and they think they got the concept of etymology. So they try to be uh, you know, the 3.0 version of Taj or Abdullah, and they, you know, they fail miserably. You know, like Yafa Bay. You know, so it's like, you know, you gotta be careful. People out there, you know, like if you know that you only graduated from high school and you barely did that well, you might want to be humble and consider that. Because, like I said before, I tell people all the time, reading comprehension is not a strong facet in many communities in America. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about our community, the Asiatic community. I'm talking about many communities. Reading and comprehension is not a strong facet in our communities. Period. And so it's like when we get into the problem is when we get into this knowledge, you know, we don't consider the fact that we have to toil in reading in order to truly gain the knowledge that we claim we had. Like for instance, my best friend, he hasn't done it in a while, but when I found out he was on the path of self knowledge and stuff, he would tell me like, bro, because he used to live in Indiana and Chicago, between Indiana and Chicago. They had a little town called Little Egypt. And he used to visit there. So I used to go to libraries, I used to study, get all the information, blah, blah, blah. He said, bro, I used to read and I have notes. I used to take notes. I got notebooks filled with notes that I would read the book and then I'll go find the book where it referenced in the book, read that book, get notes, take the notes. And he said, I got notebooks filled with notes that I took, you know, and I wrote down. And I said, yeah, like a lot of people say they study, but where's your notebooks? Like, where's your notebooks? Like I got notebooks of notes I took and like breakdowns and revelations of certain stuff. That some of the stuff I say, you know, on Holy Day is stuff that I wrote years ago. And that, you know, breaking down stuff and just trying to study, you know, and have concept and you know, try to gain a concept. But a lot of times we don't do that. You know, especially the new people. They just regurgitate. You know, that's why certain individuals can get on YouTube and say what they can say. People are like, oh yeah, and they end up finding out, you know, they don't know nothing, and they're definitely not the person to be following. You know, you gotta be careful. You know, certain things when somebody says something, if you got basic understanding of grammar and you know elementary information as your basis, that's a good filter. That's a great filter. You could just go off of what you know and be like, wait a minute, bro, that don't match. Because either if they're humble enough to correct themselves, but right, my bad, I wasn't thinking. But they'd be like, oh, what you talking about? And they're willing to debate you over basic grammar stuff. It's not even worth it. Keep it moving. That person trying to get $1. You know what I mean? Ain't willing to look into the basics. You know, so that's why I say Moorish American, because I was one of the ones. And I forgot my basic grammar lessons. And I was down and oh no, I'm a more I'm not no Moorish. Moorish is that's not you know what I'm saying? So then I'm joining this group that call themselves, blah 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 more. And I'm, I'm down in the temple. Like y'all still call yourself Moorish American. Y'all can't y'all ain't got no nationality because can't have a nationality with an adjective. Like who made that rule up? Who made that rule? You can't have a nationality with an adjective. Where is that in the international I got a whole book on nationality from different international scholars, like people on the topic. And that does not show up in that book on nationality. Oh, you can't have a nationality because you got an adjective and name. Like, that's so stupid. It's not thinking, And I was talking to Moriel Smithfield because I told her earlier we were talking about this stuff. We were feeling like, yo, they gotta be some outside entity telling these folk to come into the movement and stir it up and sway people different with these little silly concepts. It has to be because some of this stuff is just basic knowledge. I'm saying you coming in and say, "Oh, more is not," and it's no basis for it. And Abdullah Talib Mosley Bey ain't never said that. And not that I know of. Somebody please will correct me if he ever said, Moorish American and talked about Moorish is improper to use Moorish in your nationality or whatever. I've never heard him say that. Like I said, I think people who try to be like him ended up saying stuff like that. But it caught wildfire. Got all these different Moors saying that stuff. It's not incorrect. It's even that because you still, go British, some type Irish, some type of Irish. No, it's describing it's connected. It's another form of, it derives from Ireland, derives from, you know. So, and these type of names constitute the gambit of people who might live in Ireland or within the confines of what uh, the Irish government is, or its political scape, might be British. You're British, you might be Jamaican, and you're born in Jamaica, but you might be British, or you're in Jamaica, but you pledge your allegiance to the crown. So you're Jamaican, but you're British. You're in Jamaica, but you're British because your allegiance is to the crown. And then Moorish American is, we're not necessarily, from Morocco or descendant. We're in relation to Moroccans, right? Descendant from Morocco. We're not citizens of Morocco. We're descendant from Moroccans. So, we're Moorish in a sense. And even then, Brother Burdell, or what last Sunday call, he said, the Moors are trying to those people, those different ethnic groups are trying to, or tribal groups are trying to go back to being recognized as Moorish instead of Moroccan. Some of the citizens went to Morocco. So I know brother Ibrahim Bey, if he gets a chance to go, he dropped off the call. But if he gets a chance to go back over there this year, I'm gonna ask him to do a little research and find out, what if that's true, whether they're, if there's a movement of them being recognized as movement. Islam, what about y'all?
Islam, I read Ross.
Islam.
So here's a question. In the Philippines, the Moros that's there, if one of the Moros, if the Moros come to America, um, could they be Moorish American or their children, Islamism, or be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America? How about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, they could, because they fit within the confines of what constitute Asiatic. Many of them are descendant of Asiatics, Moros and the Gritos, you know. Moros was given to them, but then they accepted it. But a lot of them are descendant of the Gritos. If you read, if you know the history of the Philippines and who actually inhabited those areas prior to the Negritos, um, or what they call the Negritos, basically, basically our people, you know, and same as Cambodians. Cambodians, they can join the temple. They're considered, you know, um, related to us. I follow a sister on IG, Nita Slay. She's a rapper, but she sings as well. She's from Lynn, Massachusetts, and I got blown back when I seen her on a video. One of her videos, I was like, who's this? And I saw her, and I was like, I thought she was a sister, like regular sister. I was looking at her, I was like, oh wait a minute, she's Cambodian. You know what I'm saying? But that's why a lot of them you gotta look twice, and you be thinking that they, you know what I'm saying? Like my son's taekwondo, taekwondo instructor. When I seen his flyer for his school, I got I had to double take because I was thinking he was, you know, so-called African American, whatever. But I looked at him, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, he's Cambodian, you know. Um, True story. My son was when he was a lot younger, we were in Walmart. We were at a Walmart, and I think I was bagging my stuff or trying to situate my stuff in a cart. I just got done paying, and my son was standing next to his little boy, and he was Filipino. The little boy was Filipino, and his mom was over there. And I was like, wow. I looked at my son. I looked at the little boy, and they looked like they could be brothers or cousins, like for real. And I saw his mom. I said, wow, this baby look like he look alike. She laughed. She said he too look alike, you know. And so it's crazy because the same thing happened again to my son. But we were at former Mills, and there was this Moroccan boy. He was from Morocco, and him and his family was from former Mills, and my son was there. And I looked at the boy. I was like, wow, he looked just like my son. Like, I mean, he was, different facial features and stuff, but the lips were full. He had full lips, but he looked like he could be related to my son. Like they could be brothers or cousins. You know what I mean? So but the Filipinos, yeah, it's all game. They can come and join. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. They embodied Islam, principles of Islam, different in regions, you know, as well. Um, they fit within the spectrum, the tone spectrum of olive. Yeah, definitely. Yep. They can join. All right. So we have announcements. Uh, he didn't even put it out either. There's supposed to be a town hall meeting coming up soon. I believe it's supposed to be either I think the 29th. I think it's on the 29th. A town hall meeting on 20, either this week or the next week. I gotta double check. Well, look out for it. It's basically just getting all the members and the leadership up to date with what we got planned. What the uh what what had taken place, what has taken place within the Grand Body, as far as leadership, different not leadership but different officers and all that, what's going on to keep be alert, be aware of. So I will confirm the date and get that to y'all so y'all know what's going on with that. All right, so one thing, and I'm glad me and Yeshua went through it, but for those who want to set up a recurring uh dues, just go to the website, make sure you hit the drop menu, go to location, go to New Jersey, it's at Mission 28, and then you set it up. Because if you do the search, if you go and you hit the search bar, or you go into the search bar, you try to type in Mission 28, whatever, you go there, the PayPal option won't even show up at the bottom. But it's at the bottom, and it'll say donate with the PayPal button, donate. You click on that, but it'll also have give you the option if you want to set up your recurring payments. Okay, so you want to do that if you want to have it come out and be consistent with it. $20 a month. Also, I'm still working on this event for women, home birth event. I want to do something like that. Coming up soon. I already got in contact with a sister who's put me in a network where I could just basically reach out to those in South Jersey to come in and do speak on it. That's information. So I want to have that. I did go to the Asiatic history or so-called Black history month program last weekend. It was a good success. I did not get a chance to actually um, share any information, but just by presence alone, I was able to get some numbers. And we'll see where that's going to lead us. As I was trying to get a plug for Rutgers, Camden, and I didn't know, I kind of that didn't happen, but I still am going to try to work something and see if we can get up in Camden, Rutgers, Camden, do some type of speaking or something up in there. I got what else? That's about it. Oh, Moriel Smithville and myself are going to create a live stream. A live stream. We're going to be going live periodically, often. I say periodically. We're going to go live kind of like often, maybe once a month or twice a month. Talking about the history of the movement, talking about the history of wars, and that just to create content. So we're working on it now, but it's gonna be something that either is gonna be going live on Facebook or we're gonna record it, go live on YouTube or whatever, and then air it on Facebook, and then have it air on YouTube on a channel on Moorish Guy TV or just a Moorish Guy channel, probably Moorish Guy TV. We got two channels, Moorish Guy and Moorish Guy TV. But right now, the Moorish Guy TV doesn't have a lot of content, but Moorish Guy does have a good amount of content. A lot of older stuff from like the early 90s. You can go check that out. But what me and Moriel Smithfield is going to be doing, we're just going to definitely be creating more content, more kind of like a podcast, but without the pod. And it's I call it live cast. You know what I'm saying? We just going live. You know, we don't have the mics and all that stuff like that. We're just gonna be going live, talking about the history. And hopefully we're planning on creating a book, writing a book too on Moorish facts and stuff like that in different figures in history and events and stuff like that. So we're going to be doing that, and hopefully we can get the book done within a few months. And turn a lot of information into the book. AI has a lot of capabilities. I'm gonna say that. So a lot of stuff we're gonna be putting AI is gonna be helping, and we're gonna hopefully we create the book. Once we get the show going and we start plugging the book where the book, plugging that we're creating or we're writing the book, we'll definitely open it up for donations. We want to donate for us to get the book out. It'll be something that we can use to actually get into universities at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because there'll be information on the Moors. Get into book into bookstores and stuff like that. We'll try to get it into bookstores as well. So until Moria, we gotta definitely turn it up a notch and get our book going. And that I'll encourage any one of you brothers and sisters, if y'all got book ideas for books and stuff in the temple, please, create your books, write your books. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a sheik, or a sheik is to have the idea and information. Create a book. If it's good and it's within the confines of what we promote, we'll put it out and publish it. You know, uh, and probably put some money behind it. Um, so don't be afraid. Anybody got information or anything, the talents, definitely bring it on. We got it. So, yeah, I just wanted to plug that, as far as that. If anybody else got any information, announcements or anything, or convention. Also, convention is almost done. Far as uh, having hotels, the hotels are almost finalized. Um, Sister Reaganelle is still working with the people, but they're gonna be honoring our tax status is not obligated. So the last place they wasn't trying to honor our tax status, but I think that was because they were money hungry. Anytime you double charge people on their credit card, like there's no reason why you did that. You should have done that, but they did that. I know they were just it was just it was a crazy situation. I told Reagan, I was like, we're not coming back. It's nice, but they definitely trying to get over on people. So yeah, but any questions about the material? Well, Sunday, of course, our Sunday school is with Temple 8 call, and the rest of the Moors that are on that call. Um, for those who have the dial pad, it's always the same dial pad link. You know, just use that. 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If any other questions about what I went over, or the move, questions about the movement. And if you ain't got questions, then we can move to close. No questions. Let's move to close. It's 11:36. To the members of the Moorish Scientific America, to be read in every meeting, Islam. These are the instructions from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed. That you'll be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet. I, Noble Drew Ali. That is why many hearts have been turned to stone, many have eyes to see, cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. These still will be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine national principles or your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet. Prophet warns all Muslims to be ready every meeting. I hereby inform all my members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, and on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We're for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet will violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in the prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans. They may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is the everlasting movement founded by the prophet, the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed in every meeting, Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I had notified all these things to you long ago, in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance. I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and ability. Nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head, and it has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet number Valley. Let's move to close. The prophet's prayer. 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left. You don't have to, please don't repeat after me. I should be the only one speaking at this point. Allah bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creating principle. This we ask in our holy name in the 7 of Amen. Islam. Happy Holy Day.